Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome into another episode of the Ringside Rundown Podcast. My name is Erik Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes. Coming straight from the Berg. How about them Steelers? She is Shay Hickson. Shay, what's going on, my friend?
How about them Steelers? They love to give us a heart attack against the Ravens, but that's typical AFC North football.
Hey,
So
it
we'll take
is
it.
what it is. It is what it is. You keep racking up those wins.
We're doing our best. We're doing our
Uh,
best. And you heard the Giants as well, but
yeah,
well,
yeah, we're
well,
not going to talk about
we're,
that. How has your
anyway,
week been since
uh,
we've last spoke?
not too bad. It's always weird when we go on these like off days that aren't like Tuesdays. So I'm just like,
Right.
yeah, it's Tuesday, and then I looked at the calendar. I'm like, no, it's actually Wednesday. So tomorrow's Thursday. So we're almost done with the week, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's almost done with the week. We're almost done with the year.
ugh, don't even. That's one of those like throw me into an existential like spiral of like there's no way it is almost the end of the year already.
Yeah.
I think I had seen something on Twitter where someone tweeted something about like, oh, well, there's only 2 months left until the end of the year, so what are you gonna do going into 2025? And I'm sitting there going, no, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the end of 2024. What are you fucking talking about? And then I
Yeah.
remember, and then I looked at my phone, and I'm like, oh, it's well, it was October at the time. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, oh yeah, we really are towards the end of the year. That's just time
Yeah.
is a myth. Time is
I,
such a myth.
I always love those posts because they're like, it's almost the end of 2024. What have you accomplished this year? And I'm like, buddy, I'm just happy to be here. You
I woke up.
know?
I woke up
Yeah.
today, so there's
Yeah,
that. Like,
we're breathing and we haven't had a meltdown yet, so we're just taking it
no.
step by step. It is crazy because I was just watching TV, and I even said this. I was watching TV and they played the M&M's Christmas commercial,
Oh God,
and,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
was like, why are they playing this? It's so oh wait, it's November.
I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
that's right.
Thanksgiving's next week. I'm like, what do you
Yeah,
mean it's next week? Like,
yeah.
slow down, please. I can't take it.
It is insane, but we keep moving, we keep pushing forward, we keep pumping out these episodes. Welcome again. If this is your first time listening to the Ringside Rundown podcast, welcome and thank you for your time. Shay and I, what we do here is we talk about professional wrestling, and the way we do that is we answer questions sent in by our loyal listeners. And today we kind of have a mixed bag. We got some questions, and we're also going to give our predictions for AEW Full Gear, which is happening this weekend, this Saturday on pay-per-view. So it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good episode. I can't wait to get right into it. So why don't we stop wasting time and start talking?
Yeah. Let's just go right into it. So we're gonna start over on the Twitter side with Mom's questions and comments. She's starting off hot. She is not a fan of the whole Death Rider storyline. She thinks it's kind
Ooh.
of a jumbled mess.
Ugh.
Um, I feel like they're not taking it as far as they could be or should be taking it.
Right. Mm.
Like every week, it's oh well, Moxley's taken over TBS, Moxley's taken over TNT, Moxley's taken over the show. It's like, well, last I checked, if you say something like that, you better hijack production, have one of the
Right.
riders hijack the truck, do something, not just oh well, they show up. It's like, well, if
Right.
that's the case, then every wrestler ever invades their show that they work in. It's just like they're not doing anything that's like, at least I don't think, really separating themselves from another one of these like we're just taking over the company by force kind of storylines. It's just
Right.
like, guys, what's anything new? This isn't new. Like, actually act like you're fully doing a hostile takeover of the company you work in.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of almost as if they're trying to like an emulate sort of like an NWO sort of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Like the thing is like with the death like I do kind of get the uneasy feeling when they come on the screen,
Hmm.
but it just kind of feels like it's almost like you said, like it's almost flatlined, like the what the impact of what they do on the show kind of stays the same
Yeah.
almost. They come in very menacingly, they shut down any sort of opposition or attack from the other side. They take somebody, they smash their hands with a hammer, and they leave. It's unnerving when they do it, but they've kind of they've kind of done it a lot. So you're right. We kind of need a little bit of the shock factor.
Yeah.
If we can get a little bit of shock factor for good or bad, like, because that's the thing with AEW is they can kind of, I don't want to say make a mistake and give us the shock factor, but they can take a risk.
Yeah.
They have more room to take a risk and kind of show like, hey, this is what we do. We're against the green. We do things differently. So we need something a little different. We don't need Darby Allin falling out of the sky, a la
No.
Sting
No.
or anything like that. We need something again. The For me, the Death Riders, when they come on the screen, it's like, oh shit, something bad's gonna happen, and realistically, something bad does happen.
Yeah.
It's just kind of almost the same. So it's kind of like they went from mock execution of Brian Danielson with a plastic bag to now they're just kind of beating people down, and really honestly the people that they beat down are of no consequence, like Brandon Cutler and
Yeah.
things like that. So it just the stakes need to be raised a little bit. I am excited for the match at Full Gear, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But it is almost like, again, the whole idea with the belt in the briefcase and not showing it off. It's just kind of, again, they're taking some interesting risk that I don't know if they need to be taking with the Death Riders.
Yeah, and I feel like it's equally as frustrating when you see like other aspects of AEW taking the same amount of risk or like even more risk than the Death Riders are, and they should be the one taking the most risk. Like,
Right.
for God's sake, Hangman burned Swerve's house to the ground. I'd say that's pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Um, Even just last week, Daniel Garcia and Matt Menard had Jack Perry tied up on the front of a hood of his bus and drove off with him on the bus.
Right. Yeah, I
So it's
remember
just,
that. Kind of like, okay, what's the follow up to that?
yeah, I was kind of hoping there was going to be something,
Yeah.
and I think they forgot him. He might have fell off, who knows?
Because
But
remember, the Young Bucks took off. Like he
yeah,
has no Young Bucks, and Okada without the Young Bucks is Okada.
yeah, like he's all by his lonesome pretty much,
Yeah.
and it's just you see those kind of things happening, like again with Hangman and with them, and then you're just like, you should literally be doing the same exact thing with the Death Riders, and yet they're probably the second or third most shocking thing that happened that night when they should be the first. So
Right, right, yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, we get it. You're tough. Okay, we get it. You break people's hands. You don't see the belt. You literally just have Marina there as a glorified, just like title holder, essentially. That's what she is. It's just like, I still agree with what we talked about a couple weeks ago, where it's like they need to get her to do something with the women's division. Like,
Yeah.
it's like she's tough enough that she could do it. It's not like it wouldn't be believable. She's a badass. So why are you not having her try and like meddle in the women's division a little bit? But no, you just have her literally there as just even just a model, pretty much just standing there. Like,
She's
you have
just
the key.
standing there looking menacingly.
Yeah, and it's like I get that she's important because she's the one that John trusted with the title, which is like, yeah, that helps, but that's all she is. She's just the title.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Um yeah, I mean, again, it's just we need a little bit more something to kind of restore that feeling of the Death Riders aren't something to be messed with. They should be taken seriously and should be feared almost.
Exactly. They need a little more, like you said, shock value.
Right.
Maybe a full gear. We never know. Maybe something bad's gonna happen. I mean, I hope not, but I wouldn't put it past them. All right. So she was bringing this up because this thing was all over Twitter, and I'm sure you probably saw it, and I'm sure you might have some feelings as well. Did anybody else
Uh-oh.
catch Sami Zayn throwing his phone on the couch when they were all like watching Solo come out for his match on SmackDown or
Right.
whatever, and he threw his
Yeah.
phone on the couch, and everyone's just like, "Why did he throw his phone on the couch? Was that just on
Yeah.
purpose? Was that on accident? What's going on with that?" I'm like, "Yeah, that was a little weird."
Right.
S-
Um
mm, He
my
wouldn't turn on them, would he?
No, I think my theory is very simple. My theory is he saw Solo coming out. Everybody looked at the screen, and Sammy knew, like, oh shit, it's time to go down. And he
Mm.
just simply took his phone out of his pocket and threw it on the couch.
So you
Like,
thought it was like an innocent kind of thing?
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I complete, and then I don't know. Maybe they could do that and say maybe, but why would Roman pick up the wrong phone? I mean, I've never really picked up the wrong phone. I've always
I
known
know.
it was my phone. So
Yeah,
I
you know.
yeah, I can't realistically say like, that Roman accidentally picked up Sammy's phone. I simply think what happened was Sammy saw Solo and those guys come out and he was like, "Oh shit, it's about to go down. I don't want to get my phone smashed. Let me throw it on the phone." But the thing is, like, that's kind of the interesting thing about WWE now and the way Triple H operates is that he's constantly throwing out these Easter eggs. So
Mhm.
you don't know what's part of the story, what's sort of like a red herring or like a misnomer where you're just
Yeah.
like, did that really happen? Was that supposed to happen? What's going on over there? Like it's sort of interesting how our brain operates. Like now we've gone from solely being negative to being negative, but also trying to play detective at the same time.
Yeah, we're trying to be Batman, we're trying to be the great detective, like
Exactly. Yeah. Good way to put it.
yeah, and I mean, I would like to think that it's not gonna end up with Sammy turning because I just don't think it would really make a whole lot of sense.
No.
But someone brought up a good point about, Roman not obviously trying to call Paul Heyman and him not answering or the phone was disconnected. If we don't remember, Solo destroyed Heyman's phone after
Hmm.
WrestleMania, so but he doesn't have a phone, but technically he had a second phone.
He
One
did.
was Roman's phone, one was The Rock's phone.
Hmm.
So clearly we know which phone he might still have. So it's like, is Paul going to double cross Roman because abandon him because he's not the most powerful one anymore? Because we know that's what Heyman loves to do is that, oh, well, you're not the meal ticket anymore. Well, I got to get out of here. I got to go to someone who's going to like cash my checks. So it can happen, but
The thing is like this. I think I but no, well, see, like this is
I
the
got you thinking.
yeah, no, but I'm thinking in terms of The Rock, right?
Yeah,
That could be the guy. That could be one of many that Paul Heyman could go to as the fifth man for the OG Bloodline for Ward Games. And the thing is, like, I feel like The Rock's current movie bombed, so of course
again.
the final boss is coming back. But like, a part of me is like he hates to be the bad guy because he doesn't want people to not like him. So I don't
Yeah.
think he wants to have a movie that bombs and then come
Mhm.
back and be an asshole that nobody likes. But the
Yeah.
final boss character is so good that why would you not want to do that? So
Yeah.
that's kind of where like The Rock is like there's logic is to Rock being the fifth man for Roman's team, but then again, it's one of those situations where you can't really have two alphas in the same camp because
No.
one's gonna wanna go above the other and show that
Yes.
they're the big dog of the group, and they have that ego thing, especially professional wrestlers with ego. It's a
Mhm.
big thing. If not The Rock, I was thinking maybe reunite Paul Heyman and CM Punk,
Oh God, could you imagine? Could you
and
fucking imagine?
have CM Punk be the fifth man. But then again, and again, there's like two sides to everything. If
Yeah,
you do it that way, it's like, well, how would that have fit into the story? Because again, there's always been logic and explanation within the story of the bloodline. But
yeah.
then again, what's the logic behind Bronson Reed being with the new bloodline? Really, he's just a hired gun.
Yeah, and I feel like for storyline's sake, for like continuity's sake, I really hope they stick with Seth being like, I'm not doing it. I'm not teaming with them. Like, I'll stand with you three. I'm not standing with him.
Right.
Because this man shredded his knee. He gave up months of his career essentially to try and get rid of Roman Reigns and and like make him lose his title. So it's like, why would you just throw that out the window just for the sake of like nostalgia and just, oh well, we need somebody, he's the only one? It's like, no, it would make no sense. It would be so dumb. So yeah, it's just like, if it's not gonna be Seth, if it's not gonna be The Rock, who can it be? Who knows?
I don't know, but that's kind of the cool thing about the current product. You know, you kind of have all these theories that you can play off of and play detective again, but it's also like it's so unpredictable that you're like, I got to tune in and see what happens.
Yeah, that's what we always say. You always want people to come back and tune in because they can't miss what's about to happen or what might not happen. Are they going
Right,
to feel vindicated because of something? Are they going to be mad, but
right,
they're still going to watch? It's just like it's all about that engagement.
right, exactly.
Okay, so this is more this is more of a comment, just more directed at me. Mom said, "Thank God for my personal mental health, me, that Dakota and Bria are both back, so I don't have to take the bridge. Thank God." I'm just like, nature's healing now, at least for me. Like, Rhea's back, Dakota's back. They gave Dakota that vignette on Raw, which makes me think we're getting the women's Intercontinental titles, since I kind of called that when they announced the women's US title. I'm like, well, you got to have the Intercontinental for the Raw side, so in a perfect world, fingers crossed, Dakota finally gets
Interesting.
rewarded. I will scream, obviously. Yeah, and then Rhea coming back for War Games is going to be very interesting. So this kind of goes in a little bit to Mom's last, I guess, questions, the predictions for War Games. I I saw this one tweet, and it's that one where it's like that team of like army guys, and then like the clown in the middle. And someone was said, "Oh, well, this is Candice LeRae on the women's war game on her War Games team." And
Oof.
one of my other friends, who we're finally patching things up now because Bianca and Jade are on Rhea's side, and so now we can't fight anymore, so everything's fine. He's just like, I think you meant Raquel, not Candice. And I'm like, you know what? Absolutely, I fully agree with that. It's just I don't understand how people don't. They still underestimate Candice, and it's so shocking to me. But no, if you're gonna pick a clown in that on that War Games team, it's Raquel and nobody else. I'm sorry, but I
Yikes.
digress. Though, um, so
Yikes.
so predictions for the War Games matches. At least for the women, we know the full teams.
Right.
It's a very interesting team for each side. I wonder if that was what the plan was going to be all along, or since Rhea got hurt, they kind of had to like panic a little bit. But I am glad though that we've talked about it before. They're weaving in different women's storylines in with each other, and it doesn't seem like far fetched or like, why is this happening? This doesn't make any sense. So
Mhm.
it's cohesive in a way. If it comes to who wins it, I I don't know. I'd like to say that this match is going to be the end of Rhea and Liv's rivalry, but I don't think it is, and I don't think people are going to be thrilled about that because
Oof.
people do not want this thing to keep going.
Yeah, it's kind of what are they fighting over now? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
the title, but
the
there's so
title doesn't
many
even
other.
exist anymore. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
Like,
and there's so many other women there that are now deserving of opportunities. Like, it's enough, you know.
yeah, it's just like in my perfect world, give it back to Rhea, and that's that. Because why wouldn't you? But I don't know because I feel like I don't know. It seems like Rhea and Liz match at SummerSlam. Obviously, that made sense. That all made
Mhm.
sense. And then once you get to putting Dominic in the cage, then it was just kind of like, okay, like it makes sense. But then Raquel shows up, and that was like their reason of, oh, we got to keep it going now because Raquel's involved. And it's just like, okay, but they didn't introduce anybody on Rhea's side. It was just Rhea. So it's not like that was a whole new wrinkle. It was literally just somebody being there, I
Right.
guess. And
Yeah.
has she anything to improve that? Not at all. Not at
Right.
all. I I mean, we've said it before. I've said it before. I've never been a fan of Raquel. I don't think I ever will. She's
Mhm.
strong, don't get me wrong, and that's literally all she has. She
Wow.
has zero personality. I'm just not a fan personally. Just not my thing. But she's just not doing anything to elevate the storyline anymore. Like, we knew it was coming. It happened, and we're just like, okay, like it's a thing, but I just don't think they need to keep this going into for God's sake, like the Rumble, they sure as hell don't need this going all the way to WrestleMania. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, they need to put this on the back burner for a little bit. I don't know if it's gone on so long that if they revisit it in like a year or so, like it'll have that feeling of like, oh my God, they're bringing it back. It might be like, oh my God, they're doing this again.
yeah, they're
Like,
like, oh God, they're bringing it back.
right, yeah. So,
Yeah,
hey, they just gotta play. It just is, and then and to answer the question about like who wins or like,
it's tough.
yeah, it is tough.
I
It
say
is.
just get Maria's team because at some point you're gonna have her get her revenge somehow,
But you know what's crazy is that like the two women's world champions are on the one team together, and they're
yeah,
the underdogs.
which is not great. Like, it's not good, but it's kind of the victim of the booking, as we've said
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
Like I think the thing, at least for me personally, obviously I'm not going to speak for everybody that's not a fan of the storyline dragging on so long. I feel
hmm
like it would be a little more manageable if Liv wasn't the champion, because
yeah,
then it would just be okay, it's bad blood between the two, that's fine, whatever. You wouldn't be holding a title hostage because this entire storyline has completely destroyed Liv's credibility during this reign. And it's sad to say it because we like
yeah,
Liv.
yeah.
We do. She's great, but her as champion since she's won it has just been
It hasn't been
ugh.
anything really memorable. Nothing to really write home about.
No, if you can't really remember anybody she's like defended that title against except Rhea, that's not good.
Rhea, and then she had the crown jewel match with Naya.
Yeah, that's it. And that wasn't even for the title. That was just for that what the fuck ever title
Imagine,
that they
yeah, and
have.
imagine like she's the inaugural champion for that, and like it gave her no credibility.
Yeah, no one cared. Like
Yeah.
literally nobody cared. So it's just like it's almost just in hindsight, if you would have just given the title to somebody else, not named Rhea Ripley or Liv Morgan, and the women's title would have its own thing going on, and then these two could just kill each other without something just weighing down Liv's shoulder, essentially, because that's all it is right now. It's just a bit like a paperweight.
Right.
Because no one's going to remember this title reign at all. They're going to remember the feud, and that's it. And then you're going to have that last secondary thought of, oh yeah, Liv was the champion then too. The fact that you have to remember that she was the champion during this time, not good.
Right.
Not good
Yeah,
at all.
exactly. Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better myself, really.
Um, so yeah, I think Team Rhea's gonna win, and then hopefully it's just the end of it for at least a little while.
Right.
Is that gonna be the case? Probably not. When it comes to the men's war games, though, it's it's
It,
kind of
it,
tough.
yeah, it's all dependent on who's the fifth man.
Yeah, and but then the worst part is too is like, are they literally gonna have the new bloodline lose again?
I
Again?
mean, the thing is, like, I don't think the new bloodline was supposed to ever be bigger than the OG bloodline. I
No, but
think
you gotta at least give them a chance.
which technically they did. I mean, Solo did pin Roman the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
pay-per-view, you know? And
Mhm.
and to be honest with you, it's one of those unfortunate things that has been happening a lot to WWE, which is as soon as somebody catches fire, they have backed themselves not intentionally, but they're almost backed into a corner, as in, well, we can't really pivot based on their popularity. It happened to Damian Priest
Yeah.
while he was world heavyweight champion. Um, as soon as like it's starting to catch steam and people were like, okay, they were starting to believe in him and his popularity was starting to gradually rise with him as champion. They were like,
Mhm.
well, we have to give the belt to Gunther, because if we don't, it's just not going to make sense,
Yeah.
And it's almost the same thing in this situation where like Solo Sikoa may not be believable as like the tribal chief bigger than Roman Reigns, but he's still entertaining as hell. Like,
Yeah.
he's finally found his his groove into like being himself and being a
Yeah.
character, and it's coming through, and people are really really enjoying it, and they're really enjoying the pairing with like Jacob Fatu, who's going to be a star in his own right when he breaks away. And
Yeah.
now like they've included Bronson Reed. And the funny thing is, like, I saw Bronson Reed and Jacob Fatu in the ring together, and I was like, yo, that would be such a dope tag team. Like, those two together just wrecking shop would
Those
be
two would kill
amazing.
people.
Yeah, it would be amazing to watch. So, like, they have a lot going for them. But again, what the Bloodline, the OG Bloodline, was able to accomplish in wrestling is, like, there's no way I don't see, solo there. And I obviously I could be wrong. It's just one of those things, like, it would just be too crazy to consider, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you convinced me. Fine. But like you said, it also depends on who's the fifth member,
Yeah,
because we still don't know, and we might know by this week, we might know the end of next week, we may not know until the match even starts, because they love doing
right.
that for some reason. So
Yeah, I mean, it could be The Rock. There's always those rumblings of I know your favorite Brock Lesnar.
oh please.
Uh
I was gonna say, please no, don't do that to me.
and
Ugh.
like I said, that one theory about CM Punk seems nice. So you never know.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting, I can tell you that. All right, so that was all of Mom's questions and comments. So thank you as always.
Thank you, Mom.
And let's head over to Mike's. He wanted to apologize to us because he's about a week behind on the shows, so he only had 3 questions, but they're very good ones, as always. I mean, they're
Yeah.
always, we never have a bad question. So again, starting off hot with his questions: name an AEW and a WWE star that you don't think would work in the opposing promotion.
Mm.
So for him, he doesn't think Brock Lesnar would work in AEW, and he doesn't think Orange Cassidy would work in WWE.
Ooh. Orange Cassidy wouldn't work in WWE?
I guess not.
That's a hot take. I think he would work well in WWE.
I think he'd be
I
pretty
mean,
good.
he'd work well, but I mean, and then if again, this is part of PTSD from the last regime. Like
Yeah,
you hear Orange Cassidy in WWE, and then you think, oh well, he's gonna end up in as like the R-Truth role,
yeah.
the designated comedy role. So
Hmm.
but that's an interesting take. I'm interested in hearing your picks for sure.
Well, it took me a little bit to look around for like an AEW star that wouldn't do well in WWE, because I feel like it was kind of hard pressed to find somebody, because
Right.
just when you think you wouldn't find one, you're just like, yep, nope, they'd work because of this, they'd work because of that. However, I did find the absolute number one person that I know for a fact would not work in WWE, and that is Eddie Kingston. Because they would have to censor him so hard, and he would not like
No,
that at all.
no,
So that one was pretty, once I saw it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty
no.
obvious." I know, which it sucks, because it's like you
Don't
just know they wouldn't let him be
don't
himself.
neuter my boy.
And they would, that's the part. So, unfortunately, Eddie would not work. On the
Oh
other hand, though,
no.
it this one was even tougher, trying to find like a WWE person going to AEW, because I feel like you could pretty much just say any up and coming star that like thrives in like the performance center environment would not work in AEW,
Mhm.
because you don't have the performance center. Just ask Jade Cargill how well that worked for in
That's
AEW. So
true.
that probably wouldn't help.
Right.
I feel like, I guess to me the obvious one would be, besides just any up and coming person from NXT, I would say probably Becky Lynch, because they would do the complete opposite what WWE would do with Eddie.
Mm.
They'd give her too much reign, or they would go
Ooh.
too all out to the point of it's just comical at that point.
Right.
Like, could you imagine big time Becks in AEW? It would be so obnoxious. It'd be so ridiculous. They just knew how to make it work in WWE. I think that they wouldn't know how to, like, I'm not gonna say handle her. I don't think they would put too much into Becky as a character in AEW, because I feel like
Right.
that's their problem, is they don't know enough sometimes to stop. So for completely different reasons, that's why I think Eddie wouldn't work in WWE, because they would censor him too much,
Right.
and I don't think Becky would work in AEW because they wouldn't censor her enough, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. So this was a little difficult because it's kind of like you said, there's a lot of people that you could pick from AEW and say they would work in WWE because WWE has that ability. The machine runs so well that they can tap into someone instantly and
Yeah.
figure out what would make them a star. That's why a lot of people that are coming in from NXT are doing so well. That's why a lot of people coming from NXT with no wrestling background are doing so well, is because the machine that is WWE has the ability to kind of just tap into something from everybody and accentuate that to make them a star. So
Yeah.
it's kind of easy to pick somebody from AEW to go to WWE and say they work. Somebody that wouldn't work though,
It's tough.
it is tough. It is tough. And I don't know if this would count, but if you think about it, it almost feels like they are two different people. I
Hmm.
feel like John Moxley wouldn't work in WWE.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Like Dean Ambrose worked, Moxley
Right.
wouldn't.
Yeah, but see, Dean Ambrose was like a comical version of John
Yeah.
Moxley. I mean,
Yeah.
John Moxley tried to assassinate somebody by suffocating them. You
Yeah.
know, like
A little different, yeah.
yeah, he's a little bit more unhinged. So I feel like that probably wouldn't work in WWE, because unless, it all depends, because with this Netflix situation,
Yeah.
you don't know how it's gonna shift the programming in terms of rating, like sensory rating and things like that. So they might get a little edgier maybe. But
Maybe.
we don't know. Um so I'm thinking John Moxley. If we take the current iteration of John Moxley, the guy that's trying to take people out by smashing their hands with a hammer and executing them with plastic bags, I think that probably wouldn't work well in WWE. If I was to flip it around, someone from WWE to AEW, I'd probably, for the same reason you said Becky Lynch, but I'd go with Charlotte Flair. Um,
Oh,
I'd go
yeah.
I'd go Charlotte Flair because, as we see with other people like Mercedes Moné, anybody that comes
Yeah.
in with a really, really, really huge name, AEW
Yeah.
has a hard time trying to capitalize on.
They go
Other
a little
than
too hard.
right, other than maybe Brian Danielson, uh, Adam Cole had a
Yeah.
hard time coming in.
Yeah.
Mercedes Moné had a hard time coming in. It just kind of like that. So it's like they know she's a big star, and she'd come in, and then her first feud would be against like Serena Deeb or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like it would be a constant misstep of, the reason Charlotte Flair is because, again, like I said uh just a couple seconds ago, it's the machine that is WWE that is able to tap into something that can turn them into a superstar. Yes, her last name is Flair, and yes, that got her in the door. But I
Yeah.
honestly, if like that aspect of her life wasn't a thing, she'd still be, probably a first ballot Hall of Famer if she kept the same career path and the trajectory that she's on. Um, and I don't think the machine of AEW is able to harness the star power
No.
that a Charlotte Flair would have. So uh,
No.
that would be my choice.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I just don't think AEW has. You hate saying it because it's not like they've only been around for like 2 months. It's like they're not established enough to
Right,
have that kind of power.
right.
They haven't taken enough trips around the neighborhood enough to like know what they're doing. So yeah, I feel like it would just be a recipe for disaster at that point.
Yeah.
Alrighty. What are our thoughts on the rumors of Speedball Mike Bailey going to AEW?
I actually think it's a great thing. It's a great thing
Yeah.
for both because, like, um he would be, if going to AEW, he has a real shot to like, let me show what I can do and then use what I
Yeah.
can do to catapult myself into a bigger main event scene in AEW. With WWE, everybody's so established and it's like
Yeah.
everybody's so hot that to kind of get in the door and try to make an impact, if you don't make an impact, you're going to get easily forgotten rather quickly. So
Yeah.
you have to make a big impact if you're going to WWE. But the thing is, every single aspect of the WWE programming is hot right now. So it's like, if you don't make a banger first impression, you're just going to be another Apollo Cruz or a
Oof.
Giovanni Vinci.
Oh,
It's just
yikes.
that's just the way it's gonna be. So I think it's super smart for him to go to AEW where he can mix it up with a lot of different people, because again, AEW is more of a matchmaking company rather than a creative booking company. So
Yeah.
they'll automatically, they want to throw him in there with Osprey. They want to throw him in there with Ricochet. He'll have a banger with Konosuke Takeshita.
Oh, yeah.
That would probably be my first feud that I bring him in, is with Konosuke Takeshita. And then you can move on to Okada. And then you can move on to Ricochet. And then you can move on to Kyle Fletcher. And then you can move on to Osprey. Like the possibilities are literally endless.
Yeah.
With Speedball Mike Bailey in AEW. Of course, in WWE, he'd probably have great matches with like Rollins, Dominic Mysterio. That'd probably be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
Gunther would be a lot of fun. If Ilya Dragunov was healthy, that would be cool. But I think the best spot for him now is to be in AEW, where like if they keep focused on talent that is the unconventional and not the big powerhouses that we're usually used to seeing as world champions, if they focus on the guys like Osprey, Konosuke Takeshita, Ricochet, and then bringing in Speedball Mike Bailey, I think it would be a fantastic opportunity for AEW to grow their audience.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of going off of what you said earlier, I think when it comes to WWE too, you kind of have to have, for the most part, the best of both worlds. You have to have like a very strong, like out there kind of persona or character, and you also have to be at
Right.
least pretty decent to good in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
AEW, on the other hand, they, as they always say, we're the best wrestles. So you could be kind of okay on the mic. You could be like, yeah, okay, you're nothing like remarkable character wise, but if you're fantastic in the ring, it makes up for it in AEW. That doesn't really fly in WWE. Like,
Right.
you have to at least be able to handle yourself on the mic, because if you don't, you can end up like quite a few people where it's just like, well, I mean, they're good in the ring, yeah, but I can't remember anything they did on the mic, or I can't remember any decent storyline because they couldn't cut a promo to save their life, or they just didn't have anything that like popped off the screen. Like,
Right.
you gotta have, like I said, best of both worlds in WWE, and I feel like AEW, you at least have a little more wiggle room where you can work on the character, you can work on the mic work and everything, but if you're really good in the ring, I think it makes up for it. So I would say for Speedball right now, it's AEW is definitely the best choice for him, and I cannot wait to see what he does, because I haven't been able to watch a lot of his stuff, but from what I hear online, he's legit.
Yeah,
So
he's super legit. He's super. I'm telling you, like once him and Takeshita lock up,
it's
it's
over.
gonna be a blast. They're gonna it's he's gonna do very well. He's gonna
All right,
do
good.
very well in AEW.
All right, perfect. I can't wait to see it. All right, Mike's last question. We're just speeding through these today. If we could recommend someone to help write for AEW that is either under contract with them or a free agent to bring in, who would it be?
Easy answer. RJ City. RJ
Yeah,
City.
yeah,
RJ City, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, any day that ends in Y. In
yes,
terms of creative and
hmm
creating drama that is logical but layered and multifaceted and forces you to think, it's RJ City. Why? I need no other further example than the Tony Storm
yes,
Mariah May storyline.
yeah. Easily their best storyline this entire year,
Right.
maybe even ever. Honestly, if you want to go, you it's up there for one of the best AEW feuds. Period.
Imagine what he would be able to do. I don't know, maybe he is, but like imagine if they were to be like, okay, how would you interpret John Moxley and the Death Riders as characters? He
Yeah,
would be able to take them so over the top, like it would be insane.
it would be. And I feel bad because, I mean, obviously, I would agree with you. RJ's like the obvious choice there because just from Tony and Mariah alone. Except I feel bad for him now because I feel like people are going to kind of give him flack because if he's still working with Mariah, I don't know what Tony's doing with that right now because they kind of are falling into that trap again of, okay, well, we did the big thing and everyone's loving it and pats on the back for us. Now, what do we do?
Yeah, I mean, but that is uh the the paradox of it's like there's never an end. Like it's always okay, what do we do next? You
Yeah,
constantly have to have that mindset of what do we do next? There's never an end goal. There's only a pivot into something else to carry the load that was from the last story. The only thing is like being in a creative position like that, like you said, it all falls on you. So like,
yeah.
and especially nowadays with everybody being a critic, um
Oh,
you know,
yes. Oh, yes.
and everybody trying to point out your flaws and your faults and where you went wrong and where you could have been better. It's just like that is a daunting burden, to kind of, well, I can just brush that off and do my job. But again, like he has a creative ability to like adapt a story into almost a cinematic,
Yeah,
masterpiece, as cliche as it sounds now in
it's
wrestling. but
truth.
but yeah, that's his ability, is that he studies the dramatics. He is an actor besides being a former pro wrestler.
Hmm.
He is an actor and he has high profile actor friends. you know
Yeah,
um so like he knows in terms of, okay, drama, no matter what company, whether it's WWE or AEW, drama is hot right now.
yes.
In terms of wrestling storylines. People want dramatic storylines that they can hop online and go on social media and be like, "Did you see that? What about this?" And they like to fantasy book, and now
Yeah.
Triple H throws in these Easter eggs here, so everybody's playing detective. So it's one of those things, like the drama's hot. So and that's what AEW needs. Like they kind of almost get there, but they can never get past the hump. You know,
No.
it's like
No.
they almost get with the like. It started with like the Elite takeover with Jack Perry and Okada. They were getting there, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be good, and then it just kind of flatlined.
Yeah.
Now it's the thing with the Death Riders. It was getting good, and now once they got rid of Danielson, it's kind of flatlining a little bit. So it's like they
Yeah.
kind of they know how to build up the drama. They just don't know how to maintain it and get ready for like that crescendo.
Yeah, and the reason I brought that whole thing with like Mariah's like reign so far, which I don't have a problem with it.
Me either.
I think it's been pretty good because here's the problem. The reason I brought that up was because shockingly, I saw this tweet where pretty much said Cody Rhodes and Mariah May's title reigns so far are perfect showcases of how AEW and WWE both know how to finish a story but not write the next chapter. And I'm just
Mm.
like, okay, here's the problem with that logic though. The most obvious flaw is that when it comes to storylines like Cody versus Roman and Mariah and Tony,
Mm.
sometimes it just comes down to good old fashioned fate and timing
Right.
because you're not going to always like there is nobody else on that roster right now for the women in AEW that can compare to Tony Storm.
Correct.
And it's just all about the timing. And at the time, Mariah coming in, they had that storyline ready for her to go. It was just like the timing was right. The stars aligned. That's never going to happen all the time. It's not.
Right.
So you have these once in a lifetime like storylines, again, like Mariah and Tony or Cody and Roman, and you're like, oh, well, that was fantastic. We need more of that. Okay, well, that's not going to happen every other day. Like, that's not going
Yeah.
to happen every title defense that they both have. Like, they both have had great reigns so far. I
Right.
mean, granted, we were complaining last week about why Anna Jay got another match, but it's just like that's not Mariah's fault.
Right.
Didn't matter, clearly. Mariah still won. So it's just like, because here's the thing, what they're not seeing now is that, do we not see what the next step in Mariah's like title reign is? At least I think it's very obvious. She's stabbing Mina in the back at Full Gear fully because it's Mariah.
Right.
I love Mariah. Don't get me wrong. Everyone knows I love Mariah, but we know her game.
Right.
She'll
And this is going to
pretend.
make her one of the most hated people in AEW.
Yes, because how can you not love Mina? Mina's great. That
Mina's
whole thing with her and
fantastic.
Harley just like fucking killed me. That promo
Can we
backstage.
can we talk about how great Harley Cameron is?
She is. I'm glad people are finally catching on because we knew right from the beginning when she was
Yeah.
wrestling, we're like, she's good. But then when they actually give her those promo times, it's like,
Yeah.
she's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like,
Get her away from
props to her.
Saraya. Get her away from
Yeah,
Saraya and get her a belt quick because
something.
like she's too good. Like she's too funny. Like
Literally, like, she's too funny to just waste away on just promos because it's not, again, not like she can't wrestle. She can fucking wrestle.
yeah, but like I
Her
mean
match with Mina was good.
yeah, I need a Harley Cameron match and promo at least once a week.
Yes, at the very least,
But
just a promo, but we would want both.
but
Best of both
again,
worlds.
back to your point. It's one of those things too, like with the Roman and Cody situation, like with the Tony and Mariah situation. There are certain times where you're not always gonna find that one thing that's gonna be bigger and better than what it was before. Like, you know how
Yeah,
hard it is to find something bigger than Roman Reigns, the tribal chief that was
yeah,
champion for 4 years straight. You know how hard it is to find something as entertaining and as well logically thought out as timeless Tony Storm. Like, that's not
yeah.
easy to come by. Like, logically you want it to be okay, the next thing we do is bigger, it's better, it's more entertaining, it grabs more attention from people, but it's kind of hard to do when you're trying to up a Roman Reigns or up a Tony Storm. Like, that's just not easy.
Yeah, and again, you always want the next best thing, that needs to be better than it was before, and if it's even a step below what it was, it's terrible. It's
Right.
god awful. This isn't living up to the hype. Of course it's not going to live up to the hype. You can't have that kind of hype sustained consistently for that long unless you're the Bloodline, unless you're Tony and Mariah. But then you just look at what's going to be in front of you. Mina and Mariah's feud's going to be fucking fantastic. Like, is it going to be on the level of Tony and Mariah? Probably not. But you go in knowing, don't set them up that high because
Right.
they're not going to be able to reach that expectation. Like, they're just not.
Right.
But it's still going to be a fucking great feud. So just look forward to it and just enjoy it. We don't have to always compare it to, well, this wasn't as good as the chase and this and that. And it's, they always lose sight of that. And we say this all the time on the show. The chase is always more exciting than winning the title
Right. Yeah.
or keeping the title. Like, the chase and winning the title is great, and then everything after that is going to go downhill a little bit because that's just the law of average.
Right, and
That's just normal.
it's hard to find a title reign like a Roman Reigns where like he got the title and like the actual title reign was bigger than anything else, because it was like anytime Roman was putting the title on the line, it was can't miss. Like
Yeah.
you were gonna pay attention. It's hard to find something like that. Like, I don't even think Cody's reign has kind of touched that. What Roman's
No.
reign is been able to do. So it's just kind of that, like you said, it's just the way it is. You know, it's just the way it
Yeah.
is.
It's like, guys, just let it happen. It's great. There's no problems. Shut up. And that's that. Um, so that was all of Mike's questions. So Mike, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
And now I think you got two for us in the Discord.
Yes, I do. I actually get to play Shay tonight.
Here, I'll
And
throw you the mic. There you go.
thank you, boss. Thank you,
Hot
boss.
tag.
You know, since you're the Shawn Michaels, I'm just the Marty Jannetty, but I'll
Well, in
try.
Discord, I'm boss man of the Black
There you
Throne,
go.
so
Well, she is the boss, so we'll go
yeah.
with that. We'll go with that. But yes, we do have some questions in the Discord. So shout out to everybody in our Discord community who were showing up for the
Yes.
streams and participating in the podcast. We love you and thank you very much. This first question comes from my good friend Dynodian Rex, so you can follow twitch.tv/Dynodian Rex. He wants to know what was the reason we got into wrestling and what kept us hooked to keep watching wrestling.
Whew. Oh boy. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if there was ever really a specific like wrestler or a specific moment that got
Right.
me into it. I think it was just because probably because of just the fact that my mom was into it. She grew up on it, and so she probably just had it on the TV one day, and I'm like, "What's that?" Let me check it out. Being, oh, I don't know, like a child,
Mhm.
probably like not even 10 years old at that point, but I think I got into it as a kid, pretty much just how every kid gets into it, just the whole spectacle of it, these larger than life characters, these like big personalities, just the athleticism, all the like the wow factors and everything about it. And I think that's probably what still keeps me to it today, but it's still I think it's just also suspending that disbelief of
Right.
like, okay, well, if this would have happened that I was just losing my mind over at like 8 or 9 years old happened now, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I get that that's not actually a real thing, but it's
Right.
just you still appreciate the athleticism and the spectacle of it. You just
Right.
know like the that like childhood wonder and luster is not entirely there anymore
Right.
because you can because I mean when you grow up unfortunately that just happens to everybody unfortunately, but it's just still that excitement of just watching these people put their bodies on the line. Like I said, I will never agree with anybody and I will most likely want to fight somebody who starts with the whole, "Oh, well that you know that's fake, right? Like why do you watch that?" It's just like, "Yeah, let me ask the people who are constantly like getting put through tables or like thumbtacks or bleeding buckets like, "Oh yeah, that's fake." Or
Yeah,
like
right?
breaking bones, tearing ligaments, like shredding their bodies, but oh yeah, that's totally fake. That's a fake ACL they tore. Like that's so fucking stupid. But yeah, I think the spectacle and like childhood luster or like wonder got me hooked into it, but then just now it's just still the athleticism and the spectacle of it just through the lens of an adult. So
Yeah.
that's how I
Yeah.
take it.
That's very interesting. Very interesting. As for me, it's sort of similar like what you said. One day my dad had it on and I'm a product of the 80s, so I
Hmm.
grew up my introduction to wrestling was, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, so it
Yeah.
was like
Yeah,
that.
man.
Yeah, that was like what you said, the spectacle was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
I think my dad, he was the wrestling fan and he had it on TV and I was just hooked it to the point like my mom even said it like she remembers when I first saw it and like how tranced I became into it and she was just
Yeah.
like uh-oh and then it
Like, oh
just
no.
yeah and then like my I always tell people like my earliest life memories, if you were to ask
Hmm.
me what's the earliest thing I can think of in life, it would probably be something involving wrestling. Like I think
Yeah.
my dad used to take me to the old Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia for like
Oh God.
WWF house shows and stuff like
Ugh.
that. Yeah, so like it goes pretty deep. In terms of like what keeps me watching, it's honestly the science and the psychology behind wrestling.
Yeah.
There is at the end of the day, there are different types of wrestling and different types of styles of wrestling that they put on TV, but at the end of the day, a lot of it boils down to the same exact formula and fundamentals of it and there's a science behind it in
Yeah.
terms you do certain moves to elicit certain responses from the crowd. Your job is to control the crowd's emotions, sometimes with cutting a promo, but oftentimes in the ring during a match. So you're not even speaking to them, but you're controlling their emotions, and they don't even know that you're controlling their emotions. You
Yeah.
know? they're just doing stuff and they're reacting in a certain way, and they don't know that that's exactly how you want them to react. And
Mm-hmm.
and so there's a science to it as to why you say these things a certain way. Why do you do these certain moves, and why do you do these certain moves at a certain time and not at this time? And it's just, to me, I get so enthralled within the way everything just works, and that is why I'm still interested. That's why I want to get in some way where I can learn the production side of it, how to script a wrestling TV program like a Raw or a SmackDown, how to
Yeah.
do the production of it all. That's what I want to do. So it's like, even at this age, it's like, yeah, I do like the wrestling, but I'm more into how it all works and how it all comes together.
Yeah, the behind the scenes guy.
Yeah, that's basically me.
Yeah.
That's
See,
basically.
that's good. That's a cool answer. I like that one.
Yeah. So shout out to Dinodian Rex. Thank you for the question. Another question comes from my good buddy Charlie, who you can follow at twitch.tv/K Corrali. He's actually doing a multi-day charity streams for a charity. Let me pull that up really quickly so I don't get it wrong. It is a charity called Action for Children. So all of his revenue that he gets on Twitch, like bits, subs, all that stuff, anything to do with money on Twitch, he's donating to that charity. So I think that's pretty cool. So check him out. Again, it's twitch.tv/K Corrali. And he wants to know if we could take the 6 best wrestlers of 2024 and match them up against the 6 best wrestlers of the early 2000s, and we can determine who's on each 6. That's for our own discussion. Who would win? So we would have to basically take the 6 best wrestlers of today and pair them up with the 6 best wrestlers of the Attitude Era.
Oh God. All right. So for today's, I feel like you have to at least do like 5 men and at least a woman because
Oh, okay, okay,
that's only fair.
okay.
Oh boy. All right. I feel like you got to put Osprey on there.
Osprey, okay.
Obviously. Um. I mean, let's just get the woman out of the way. It's gonna be Rhea. I don't care.
Rhea Osprey.
Oh God. Probably have to put Cody and Roman in there.
Cody, Roman. So we got 4.
I mean, if we're doing 2024, I'm gonna throw Swerve in there because I can.
I like that. Swerve in there. We
Is
got
that it?
5. We got 5.
Now one more.
Cody, Roman, Rhea, Osprey, Swerve.
I feel like we'd probably both be in agreement. Danielson, probably.
Ooh, okay, okay.
I was gonna say, is there any others that you would think of? Because those are ones that are off the top of my head, anyway.
I don't know. For the okay, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make it difficult for myself and go 3 men, 3 women. All right.
Oof,
I'm
all right,
I'm
all
gonna
right.
go. I'm gonna go Cody,
Mm-hmm.
Gunther,
No.
Osprey.
Yeah.
And then the women, you go Rhea,
Mm-hmm.
Bianca,
Ooh.
and who would be the other? I mean, Nia. You would have to go Nia.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would piss a lot of people off, but she's been good this year,
She's been
so
good. Her second
yeah.
run has been fantastic. So again,
Oof.
Gunther, Cody, and Osprey, Rhea, Naya, and Bianca for the 2024 team. Now the early
Oh.
2000s. So this is Attitude Era. You got to pick 6 from the Attitude Era. Kind of hard to pick. Kind of hard to pick 6.
Yeah.
A bunch of women in there if you're going based off of wrestling ability. Kind of difficult, but
Yeah. Oof. And then it's so tough because then it's just like, who do we think would be a good like competition for the like current people?
right,
Because for my sake, it would be China, but
right,
um, could also be Trish Stratus.
yeah.
I mean, if you go off of pure wrestling ability, though, that kind of narrows it down a little bit. But
For the women,
Yeah, because I feel like
I'm
back in the Attitude Era was kind of more
right. For the women, the only name, well, there's two names I could think of based on pure wrestling ability. One is Ivory, and
yeah.
the other is Molly Holly.
Oh yeah.
But Jacqueline deserves some love too.
Yes,
Jacqueline
yes,
deserves some
absolutely.
love, but yeah, a lot, slim pickings
Mm.
when you have the cat,
Yes,
and
yes,
and
unfortunately.
and Stacy Keebler,
Yeah, yeah. That's tough though. Well, but then if I feel like you break down, I mean, if I had to pick between Trish Stratus or China, probably got to go Trish Stratus on that one. I'd assume. I mean, dream match would be Rhea and China, but I feel like just off of. We'll just go with Trish. So I don't think about it. Before we think about it too much, I'll just go with Trish. So,
yeah, this is
and then,
yeah.
oh God, this is tough. Well, Stone Cold, obviously. The Rock. Um. Oh, that's tough because there's like so many. Um. You know what? Let's put Kurt Angle in there too.
Right.
Because obviously. How many is that? That's 3. It's 2 more. Oh, that's like Christ, like
This one's a
this is
difficult
tough.
one.
This is tough. Like, oh, I mean, you got to put Eddie in there too.
Oh,
Um,
you're just trying to butter me up now.
yeah, really.
Uh,
Oh, like I said, there's just so fucking many you could have put
yeah.
though. Like, you could even put Cena there. You could put Triple H. Phew. Wait, so what? Okay, so I said Stone Cold, The Rock, Eddie. Who else? Kurt Angle,
Mm-hmm.
and then oh god, this is. I mean, you got to put Cena in there then too. I feel like you got to put Cena. So putting that group against the current group, that's even worse because then it's just like who the
That's just
fuck?
a mess.
Oh god. So you'd have. Let me see if I can just remember it now, because that was a lot of names. So yeah, for my current ones, you'd have Rhea, Osprey, Cody, Roman, Swerve, and Danielson
Holy
against
Christ.
Stone Cold, The Rock, Cena, Kurt Angle, Trish Stratus, and Eddie Guerrero. Oh my god.
My God, what?
This is like a fantasy booker's dream, this question. Oh, who the fuck would win that one? I feel like mm,
I would.
oh, you have to I feel like you'd almost have to strip away like the characters at that point. If you base it just off of pure wrestling ability
Mhm.
and nothing else, I think you'd have to say the current people, at least for my picks, would be the winner on that
I
one.
would.
Just based off of pure
Yeah.
wrestling?
I was thinking the current might have a leg up, but again, that early
Yeah.
2000s team sounds insane.
I feel like the only problem is, and I feel like this really isn't as hot of a take as I think it sounds, but I feel like Stone Cold was never really a great wrestler. He was a great character, so I
Right.
feel like by default then that's just -1 already. So by default the current people just win. But
Okay.
yeah, oh god, it's just so tough. Like,
Yeah.
could you just imagine some of these matches against like the current and just could
Yeah.
you imagine Osprey and Eddie like just
Stop. Stop.
literally. So it's just like you
Stop.
I
Um.
it's tough, but I
Yeah.
feel like if you base it just off of just pure wrestling ability, because if you throw the characters in there, we're gonna be here all night and we don't have that kind of time. We have predictions we still gotta do, but
Yeah.
I think just off of wrestling ability alone, it would be
Right.
my current ones anyway.
My 3 picks really quickly would be Stone Cold, obviously, like you say, you have to have
Yeah.
by default. Kurt Angle and
Mhm.
Triple H.
Yeah.
I would have
Yeah.
the game era Triple H in there.
Yeah.
For the men, and then for three women, you got to go with the three women. I would go with I take Lita,
Yeah.
Molly
Yeah.
Holly,
Mhm.
this is
I
so hard.
know. I know.
Luna Vachon.
Oh,
Throwing
yeah,
throwing a
that's a good
little
one.
throwing a little swerve in there. Luna Vachon.
A little spice there, yeah.
Yeah, completely unpredictable. However, I still think the current 2024 crop, the Osprey, Gunther, Cody, Rhea, Bianca, and
Yeah.
who else did I say? Who else did I throw in there? There
Rhea,
was
Bianca, and
Naya.
God, who did you say? Naya, yeah, yeah.
Naya. I think that crop would still kind of take it because the
Yeah.
women's side of the 2024 crop is just too strong.
Yeah, yeah, it's kinda that's just like that's always a tough thing too about the ruthless aggression era where it's just like it's almost like you have to have a little asterisk next to it because it's like, yeah, the men were great. The women,
Yeah, like
they weren't really there for the wrestling a bit. Some of them weren't there for the wrestling ability, unfortunately, and I kind of like,
what do you mean? You mean the lesbians weren't
yeah,
there for their
that would be,
wrestling ability?
yeah, yeah. And then the funny thing is now the lesbians know how to wrestle now, so it's like they're not there for just that.
Good.
Um,
That was a good joke. That was a good joke.
okay.
That was A
um,
plus. That was A
let's go,
plus.
yeah, right.
That was good. That was good.
But the it's funny because it's just like all jokes aside now that it's just like the butt of the joke back then where it was just like, oh, we just need the shock value because apparently people just being themselves is shocking. But I get that it was just like a character thing back, and that's a whole other like episode we could get into, and I don't want to open that can of worms tonight. But it's just nice that okay, well, and even just like all that aside, just the fact that you have people now where it's just like, okay, they're gorgeous, they're stunning. It's unfair how gorgeous they are, but they can fucking go
Right.
in the ring. Like again, Mariah, duh,
Yeah.
Tiffany, like the list goes on and on and on, but it's just nice now that they're not there just because they're pretty. They're there because they can actually wrestle, and that is what the number one thing is with the women nowadays. Thank God, because oh, if we still had the ruthless aggression era's like viewpoint of women's wrestling, it would be
Yeah,
tough.
the Attitude Era pipeline to Ruthless Aggression Era wasn't
The
fun.
the pudding fights, the mud wrestling,
Yeah,
yeah, the
not a lot
bra
of
and panty
fun.
matches, like yeah, that does not fly nowadays, and I'm glad it doesn't because we're better off without it.
Yes.
But
But thank you once again to my good buddy Charlie, who you can
yeah,
follow on
good
Twitch.
question.
Once again, yeah, it was a fantastic question. Really, really enjoyed it. Once again, you can follow Charlie over on Twitch at twitch.tv/K Karali. Please give him a follow. He's a great guy. So yeah, those were some really good questions, to be honest.
Yeah, I like those. Those are the like I said, we always have good questions. We never have a question where we're like, yeah, we're not answering that because that's too stupid. Everybody has great questions. Everybody has good ones. They make us think, they make us laugh, they make us angry. Like that's what we want. We want the emotion because then it brings out the rants. It brings out the this is how we actually feel, and we're going full barrel, like how I went full barrel on Camille last week. Like
Yeah, that was a big highlight.
yeah,
Uh,
that was my I'm not gonna say that was my best work. I don't really know what my best work would be, but it was pretty good. I like that. I like that little clip. Mom's like, "Wow, you really didn't hold back, did you?" I'm like, "No, I didn't because she didn't deserve it." But anyways,
yeah.
so now we get to do a little speed round of predictions because, but despite all of that chaos, we have a pay per view on Saturday. So
Yes. Yes, we do have a pay per view on Saturday. As of right now, according to the Wikipedia, including the one highly anticipated pre show match between
sure.
one of the Costco guys, Big Boom AJ, with
Who
this.
is that? What is that? I genuinely don't know what this means. Like, what does this mean?
Stop it, please. Don't make me laugh. I'm trying to be
I
professional here.
don't know what it means at all, but
I'm
okay.
trying to be a professional here.
Sorry. I'm sorry, go on. Pretend I didn't say anything.
Okay. So there's one pre-show match, and as of right now, and it can always change. There are 8 main card matches, and the main card looks really really good. So again, like you
Yeah.
said, we're gonna kind of speed round through this so we don't bore you to death with our voices. Coming up, here's an interesting one that's kind of been a point of online contention. MJF versus Roderick Strong in a singles match. Now, this was because they had a little friendly competition between Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. The first person to rack up 3 consecutive wins would get their hands on MJF. And Roderick Strong, instead of Adam Cole, was the one to get that done. I'm kind of perplexed as at this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think MJF is gonna win. I think
Oh yeah.
I think maybe it was because MJF hasn't had a match in a long time since All In, and Adam Cole, it would be his first pay-per-view match, so like it would be hard to figure out who can take the loss. I think with Roderick Strong,
Yeah.
it's a little bit easier for him to take the loss because he's sort of prominent on AEW programming. So like
Yeah.
he can kind of take the loss. It's not like he's going to disappear. It's going to bury him or anything like that. So I still think MJF is going to win this match. And that's my only logic as to why it was Roderick Strong over Adam Cole.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, and I think kind of going off of how you put it, I think, okay, let me to some people, that would be a very highly anticipated match,
Mhm.
I guess. And if you want to put all that time and effort that you guys did, whether we wanted it or not, you kind of don't want it to be a clunker because I feel like they can't afford to have another like highly anticipated match end up being a clunky mess. So maybe just hold off on it for now. But the fact that we even have to have this match at Full Gear is kind of silly. But again, that's a whole other it's a whole other mess for another day. But yeah, there's no way, and I mean no way, MJF is losing this match.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So we're both got MJF picking up the W this Saturday at AEW Full Gear. Next up on the card is Switchblade Jay White, leader of the Bang Bang Gang, in the second match against Hangman Adam Page. This one's a singles match. Kind of interesting that they didn't go for a gimmick match with this one, being it's a
Yeah.
rematch from the last pay-per-view. But being that it is a rematch from the last pay-per-view, my prediction is Hangman Page picking up the win.
Oh, Eric, you want mom to get mad, don't you?
I'm just saying,
Like,
I'm picking the law of
oh,
averages.
oh, they. I hate it, but I don't want to say it. I don't want to get disowned. I
You're
don't want
you,
to get
you're
dis.
gonna get
I don't.
grounded, young
I
lady.
don't. I don't want to get yelled at,
You're gonna get
but
grounded.
I'd be shocked. But it's just like you said, law of averages. I'd be shocked if he loses twice in a
Yeah,
row.
yeah, like
I feel like he'll do something shitty and like cheat his way to win.
yeah, definitely. He'll hit him with a low blow when the referee's not looking or something like that.
Yeah. Sorry, mom, but you know it's true. Like, what do you want from me?
You didn't hear
What do you
this
want?
part. This part of the episode messed up for you, and we're jumping to
It
the
glitched. We
yeah,
said Jay. We said
yeah,
Jay. I
yeah,
promise.
yeah.
Like,
That's exactly
mm,
what we said.
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Next up, we have a four-way match, and this one is for the AEW World Tag Team
Hmm.
Championships. Private Party will be defending the titles against the Outrunners, the Kings of the Black Throne contingent of the House of Black, and the Acclaimed. Four-way match.
Hmm.
Private Party just won the titles, but their chances of retaining are very slim. Obviously, being biased, I would want the Kings of the Black Throne to win,
Yes,
but
of
that
course.
that means they're not gonna win. Um,
No, we can't have nice things.
Max Caster continues to say stupid things, so I
Nah.
think that disqualifies the Acclaimed from winning. The
Yeah.
Outrunners are very popular. Everybody is loving the Outrunners, uh,
Yeah.
but I don't
Mm,
know, man. They just
I
get
don't think they wouldn't sacrifice private parties like Rain though for them though. I don't think
right.
not yet anyway.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So I'm going with Private Party on this one.
I am too, even though I want Malachi and Brody to win. However, I will say, I don't know how you felt when their match was like being advertised, like their qualifier match with them and FTR. I didn't get to watch it live, and somehow I didn't see any spoilers on Twitter. So, if I don't get to watch it during the week, I'll always like watch it on the weekends when mom's here.
Right.
And she didn't see what happened either because she fell asleep. So we're both just like, fine, we're just gonna fucking watch FTR win because of course they're gonna fucking win because they never can, and it's gotta always be like they always gotta get screwed over. The House of Black, what the fuck ever. And then they won, and we're just like, wait a minute, it's like this isn't like happening. This is a joke. We just got punked. So the fact that they even made it in is great. Like I'm glad that they, shown that hey, they can actually win matches. That helps. Um do I want them to win? Absolutely. However, it just makes more sense for Private Party, but what the fuck ever.
Yeah, so logically thinking, we both have Private Party taking the win and keeping the tag team titles. And then after that, we have Mercedes Moné defending the AEW TBS Championship against former TBS champion Chris Statlander. We saw a couple weeks ago, Chris Statlander put Mercedes Moné and Camille through a wall.
Yeah.
You know, these two, I mean, the money match for me was kind of Camille and Chris Statlander, and they kind of bungled that. We talked about that last week. I think this is a good chance for them to maybe take the title off of Mercedes. Will they do that? Probably not. I'm gonna go with Mercedes.
In a perfect world, like again, this is one of those where everybody knows I love Stat. So the fact that this is happening, I'm like happy about it. I I don't remember if like we talked about it or I might have been talking about it just with maybe somebody else. I feel like maybe, just maybe, if this match doesn't live up to whatever expectations it has, because I feel like people are looking forward to it. I don't think it's kind of like a oh god, this is on the match on card. Why? People are looking forward to it. If this match doesn't live up to expectations, can people start finally having the conversation that maybe Britt wasn't the problem? Just saying, because it takes two people to have a wrestling match, and sometimes
You're gonna get
whatever.
You're gonna get the people talking.
But we even said it back in All In, like it wasn't a great match on either side. It wasn't solely Britt's fault. It wasn't not her fault either. It was Mercedes too. They just didn't have chemistry, like we said. Sometimes it just happens that a match you think's going to be great just isn't because they have no in-ring chemistry.
Right, yeah. Well, yeah.
The interactions that Mercedes and Stat have had so far have been pretty decent. They've been good. I mean, we've almost seen someone get hit by a car.
Yeah.
We've seen, like you said, Stat put both of them through a wall. So hopefully that's a good sign that this match will be at the very least good. I'm hoping because I don't want Stat to be saddled to a shit match, but again, if it were up to me, Stat would take that title off her, but I just know that it's not going to happen. Is Camille going to get involved? Who knows? I feel like it would be kind of silly because if she does get involved, then they should have waited to put Stat in her after this because it would have made way more sense instead of just, well, we got to hurry up and change Stats. Now we got to have her go against Camille to like show her that she's the true strong woman of the division, which we knew that already. That wasn't like in doubt ever. You could have had Camille cost Stat this match at Full Gear. Then you could have set up those two having a feud to see who's really the stronger woman in AEW. Clearly, that's not going to happen. So if Camille gets involved, it's going to be weird. It's going to be clunky, but what the hell else is new? So it just. Mercedes can hold on to it for now, but at this rate, who's taking it off her?
Yeah.
Truly, like who are they going to have take it off her that she'll be okay with?
I mean, Tony Storm's out here teasing retirement.
Yeah, well, she's retired. So
Yeah, so
don't worry about that. Don't worry about her. Like she's not coming back.
Jesus Christ.
Like no, like that was just like the funny thing where it's like no one expects her she's actually retiring. Like come on, guys. Like come on. Like that last line though was so sad. Where it was like, what was it, chin down, tits in, and don't bother watching for the shoe. I'm like, oh. I'm like, no.
Man.
I'm like, Tony, don't do that. Stop it.
Golly.
But now, I don't know if My problem my problem is that I don't think that AEW has really made the TBS title like the 1B title.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's the secondary. So I feel like if Tony were to come back, that would be a bit of a downgrade for her, where it's like, oh, you were just in the biggest title feud, one of the biggest title feuds in AEW history, and oh, you're going after the TBS title now. Like that's what you're doing. Like, eh, I don't know. Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe Stat will pull out the victory, and I'll be screaming. But I just. The problem is you gotta have to take into account that Mercedes has creative control. So unless she's okay with it, it's not happening. So I don't know.
Gonna be very interesting to see what happens, that's for sure.
Yeah, I want Stat to win, and we'll just give it to Mercedes, I guess.
Oh man. Well, I'm just going logically, and I'm gonna say Mercedes ends up
Yeah,
retaining the title.
yeah. Unfortunately, I agree.
All right, and then next up we have in a singles match, Swerve Strickland taking on Bobby Lashley, who's making his AEW in-ring debut. However, Swerve Strickland had an X-ray done, and it doesn't look like his shoulder area, collarbone area. It doesn't look like it's in good shape.
No, so I'm like, are we actually having this match now, or no? Yes, what's going on? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's making me a little worried.
Yeah, it's making me worried as well. I don't see Bobby Lashley taking an L in his debut
No.
match for AEW. I just don't see that happening.
No, I don't either. And I feel like that, yeah, it's not going to help. It's not going to help Swerve, but I feel like it would help in the long run. Not initially, but I feel like it would get more sympathy on his side because the Hurt Syndicate's just been a pain in his ass for the last several weeks now. So I feel like maybe this is waking him back up to be the person that he used to be when he tormented Hangman. So maybe they're going to be playing with fire here. But yeah, as much as I hate to admit it too, I'm probably gonna have to go with Lashley. You just like you said, you can't have him lose his debut match, and you're treating him as big of a deal as he is. You can't. You
Yeah.
can't just be like, oh, he's a big deal, guys, and then he loses.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. Again,
No,
Swerve's already an established star, uh, and I don't really think it'll hurt him. To be honest with you, I don't think it'll hurt
no.
him. He'll just take the L and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, and then next up for the TNT Championship, we have the scapegoat Jack Perry defending the title against Daniel Garcia, who's a little different now. He's cut down the dancing. He's all
Yeah.
about AEW and being the ace of AEW. I honestly think with no Young Bucks, no affiliation to Okada, no real elite stuff going on, it might be time to take that title off of Jack Perry and give it to Daniel Garcia.
Yeah, I feel like we're just gonna go, 9 for 9 at this point. I
Yeah.
feel like, yeah, I think it's time because I don't really know what Garcia would have to do if he would lose this match. I don't know what more there is for him to do other than, oh, I don't know, win a title because you built him up, done all this work on his character, and now you finally have people behind him. Give them, reap the rewards from it. You finally did what you were planned on doing, wanted to do, and it took a lot longer than it should have. But yeah, I'd say reward the kid, give him the damn title because the elite sure as shit not doing anything right now. So there's no need to feel big and formidable as a faction when half your faction's gone and the other one's just doing whatever he's doing. So yeah, I don't think Jack Perry needs the title anyway. I feel like he'll be just fine without it,
Yeah, I think
and
so as
Garcia
well.
would benefit greatly from it. So yeah, I'm gonna say that's gonna be the title change we're gonna see is Garcia winning that title.
Yeah, that'd be a good moment to see as well.
I think so too. It'd be a really good moment, especially it's in what, Newark, I think.
Yeah,
You know those.
which is kind of close to, well, not kind of close to Buffalo.
Yeah, but I feel more or less like New Jersey crowds can get a little crazy, so I feel like they'll
Yeah,
give them a good reaction.
yeah, I think
Some
so
of
as well.
them.
Yeah, I think so. And then next up after that, we have In a singles match, Will Ospreay taking on his former best friend Kyle Fletcher. Uh, Man, this has been some bad blood. Will, his big
Yeah.
thing is like when the pandemic was happening, you were staying in my house.
Mhm.
I opened my house to you. You became like a brother. Then you stabbed me in the back and then hit me with a tiger driver. So now I can't even hold my son's hand and feel it. Like, how
Yeah.
dare you, Kyle Fletcher, you son of a bitch? Um,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Like, unreal.
Um.
Uh,
Honestly, I think maybe there's a possibility that they
mhm.
have Osprey take the L and put over Kyle
Ooh.
Fletcher.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh boy. So you're picking Fletcher.
I'm just saying.
Are you picking Fletcher? Like,
Ye-
mm,
Yes, I'm picking Fletcher.
and you know what? I'm not picking Fletcher. I'm picking Osprey because you could easily make this a whole. Okay, kid, you think you're that good? You're really not. Like he'll give him a run for his money, but at the end of the day, Will Osprey's Will Osprey. So I
No,
feel
yeah, I
like
agree.
he'll get him and just be like, "Yeah, better luck next time, kid," and then that just motivates Fletcher even more because I feel like they kind of could have spent more time on this, especially with as close as those two are. But whatever, clearly we're getting it sooner rather than later. But yeah, I think Osprey's going to be like, you think you're good, but you're not that good yet, that kind of thing.
Right.
So this is the one thing I feel like we're going to disagree on is Osprey and Fletcher, but I'm going with Osprey.
I like it. I like it. We can have our subtle differences, but I just feel like if those two things, Scapegoat losing the TNT title and Fletcher beating Osprey, would be like two undercard moments on like not big moments that people would be talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see who the winner is.
Yeah. And then finally in the main event, it is John Moxley defending the AEW World Championship that he keeps in a briefcase against Orange Cassidy. This one's kind of fairly easy. I don't see Orange Cassidy pulling this
Yeah.
off. I think it's going to be a good match though.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna let Orange. They're gonna unleash a new side of Orange, like a more ruthless side, more than I think we've seen ever.
Mm,
So I'm interested in to see that because I mean he's all decked out in black denim now. You know, when the black denim jacket comes out, he means business. So
yeah.
he's not going to be messing around in this match. But of course, Moxley is going to hold on to it because why wouldn't he? But I still think it'll be a really good match, though. I just hope they don't kill Orange. I like him
Yeah.
too much. Like, please don't murder him on
Yes.
my on pay per view, please.
Please don't put any plastic bags over his head.
If I see a plastic bag, I'm jumping through the TV. Like we're fighting.
There you go.
Like no.
There you go.
But yeah, no, it's definitely Moxley.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel like this card is still pretty solid. It should be a good show. AEW pay per views for a while now, they've been pretty solid themselves. So I'm actually looking forward to it. I will be watching the pay per view in our Discord. So please, in the description is a Discord link that you can join up, and it's available for moderators and Twitch subs as well. So if you want to hang out
Yeah.
with me and watch this the show, all you got to do is subscribe to the Twitch channel. Hit that little subscribe button for $5.99 American. Or if you use Amazon Prime, you link your Amazon Prime with your Twitch and you get the subscription included in your Amazon Prime subscription. So you can join in with us and watch the show as well. But I'll get to the other plugs in a little bit.
Yeah, that's your like quarterback position. I just sit back and watch.
Hit hut.
Hey, you'd be doing. Never mind. I'm not gonna make that joke. You know what I was about to say. I'm gonna let it go
No,
because we're friends.
don't
I'll
do
let
it.
it go.
Don't do it to me. Come on.
I'm not gonna say it.
All
So it's
right.
fine. Anyway, so
We-
now go ahead. Now you can snap the ball.
all right. So basically, we've got all the questions in. We got our predictions for AEW Full Gear happening this weekend. It's a pretty good episode. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, all of our episodes
Yeah,
are fantastic. We're the best wrestling podcast on the internet. Don't let anybody tell you any different.
yeah.
However, I just think it's a good episode. I definitely think you guys should check it out. And honestly, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of the episode. And obviously, if you want to submit a question for next week, please do so. It is greatly appreciated, and we thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. It's available on any podcast platform you can think of that host podcasts. If you have a certain platform that you can't find it on, you can hit us up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at Ringside Rundown. Hit us up in those DMs and be like, hey, I use this platform and it's not on there. Can you get it on there? I will do my best to do so. We will deliver the link to you on a silver platter, but the caveat is you have to give us back the silver platter. We only have one, and it is very expensive.
One of one.
One of one, and if we don't get it back, Shay's mom gets very, very unhappy with us. So
You don't want, I was gonna say I don't want to deal with that.
yeah, I
Please.
don't want to deal with that. But if
No.
for some reason we can't get it on that platform, there is also YouTube available. The YouTube is available for you to check out. It has full episodes of the podcast and all the highlights of the streams that I do on Twitch. So you can check it out on YouTube. The handle on YouTube is at Ringside Run Pod. You can go ahead and subscribe. We are over the 900 subscriber plateau. I'm hoping to get by the end of 2024 1,000 subscribers. We are now at 934. So
Yeah, we can do
I
it.
think so. I think we'll be good. And we're also on TikTok, but don't worry, I don't do any funny dances or any TikTok trends. It's just
No
basic
influencer stuff.
no influencer stuff. Just highlights of the streams that I do on Twitch. If you want to follow me on TikTok, it is at ringside_rundown. And I think we just hit the 1,000 follower mark on there just a little while ago, actually. So we actually completed one goal of 1,000 followers on TikTok, and I didn't even have to do any silly dances.
No.
How about
like
that?
Nothing.
How about that? And of course, like I've been saying, you can check me out. I do live reaction streams for all WWE and AEW TV programming and WWE PLEs. You can come check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/ringside rundown. And like I said, I do live reactions. I make stupid jokes. I do really bad match commentary. I laugh
Now
with chat.
stop.
Actually, chat has this thing now where they like to scare me with an air horn. So that's fun.
Oh no, not the air
Yeah,
horn.
there's the air horn, and now there's because my dog's name is Leroy, named after Leroy Jenkins. So
Oh no. Leroy Jenkins.
yeah, I have a sound alert that one of our good friends, Bella, who comes to every stream, she lets me know she exists because she'll check in with the Leroy Jenkins sound alert, and it's usually full blast in my ears, and it
Yeah.
goes off, and we have little Leroy emotes, and it's a blast over on Twitch. So please check it out. If you want to talk wrestling with me individually, you can check me out on Twitter at Erik Ringside, ERIK Ringside_. Shay, where can they get in touch with you?
You can find me probably screaming about something. I don't know exactly what at the time. It just depends on the day. But at Shailene Hickson 21 on Twitter. And yeah, I mean it's Penguin season. We suck right now, so I mean.
But at least you have the
trying
Steelers.
Yeah, we got the Steelers, so you know what? I have hope.
You got
There's some hope for me, but
You got the Steelers until the AFC Championship and the inevitable Chiefs.
don't even well, the refs, but you know.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I knew it was,
come on, like
I knew it was gonna be a comment about the refs.
well, like the joke. There was one joke that I saw like after the Chiefs lost to the Bills, where it was like, well, there were too many people trying to script the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight that they forgot to script the Chiefs game. So
They forgot to clock in at work.
yeah, they forgot to do their job, but it's fine. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, that is it for us. That is it for Shay. That is it for Erik Vasquez. We thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Ringside Rundown Podcast. Please, if you have any wrestling friends that are into podcasts, please share this podcast episode with them and let them know that they can get in touch with us and let us know what they think of the episode. It's greatly appreciated. Your support, your love. We thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Ringside Rundown Podcast. Bye-bye.
See you later, guys.